So I'm going to show you how I did my Valentine's Day makeup look that I did this February. So the first thing that I always do when I do my makeup is moisturize and prime my face. And today I've already sprayed my face with this Mario facial spray with aloe herbs and rosewater. And it's just because I've already washed my face this morning and I don't really need to put more moisturizer on. I just really needed a refresher for my skin. And the next thing that I do is I put primer on. And the primer that I'm going to be using today is the Pearl Primer from the Pore Professional line of Benefit. And I really like this brand because it really smooths out my face. And this one in particular is supposed to give me a more glowing and radiant look. I actually haven't tried this primer yet. I usually just use the regular version, but I figured we'd try something else today. And you really just want to get it all over your face and your neck. I always put it on my eyebrows and on my eyelids, just to get a really good smooth surface. And then we're going to let that sit for a moment while we mix up our foundation. And so when I say mix, I use the Lancome Ultra Wear with SPF in it. And then I take the Urban Decay Velvetizer and mix it together to give it more full coverage and to also make it look more like smooth and pretty. It's supposed to make it, like as the name suggests, look like velvet. I don't really think it makes it look like velvet, but it does give my face a nice smooth look. And so I'm just going to go ahead and mix it up on my little mixing palette here. As you can see, I just took a very small pinch of the powder and then put my foundation on top. And then I'm just going to mix it up as best I can. And to be honest, it's a little difficult because the powder kind of goes everywhere. But as long as you get most of it in there, you should be good. Now, before I put my foundation on, I'm going to put some concealer and some correcting concealer on. And I do this because I have acne and my face is a little bit redder than I wish it to be. And I'm just going to go ahead and use and mix together Jeffree Star's Peach and C4 concealer. I tend to like to go a little lighter because my face is always much tanner than the rest of me because I don't really like to tan my skin. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this all over my face, or at least where I feel like that I need the redness to be corrected or just an even skin tone. And then I'm going to take C4 and just put it right next to it. And then what I'm going to do is take my beauty blender, which it's not an actual beauty blender. I don't know what brand it is. I just got it at Walmart for pretty cheap during Christmas time. But I've taken this and soaked it in water so it would expand and get more bouncy. And then I'm just going to take it and bounce the concealer all over my face. And you want to make sure that you really blend it in so that way when you put your foundation over the top of it, you don't have any discoloration due to it kind of mixing with more concealer in one area than another. And again, I'm not really too worried about getting it on my eyelids or my eyebrows, just because my eyebrows are getting covered in makeup anyways, and as is my eyelids. And really, sometimes it just really helps kind of cover and provide that smooth surface that you need in order to put makeup on. Or it won't put makeup on to where it looks good and not patchy or discolored, because sometimes if you don't have a good surface to work with, your makeup can come out a different color or just not as good of a color as it looks in the pan. And see, I'm just making sure to blend it out towards my ears and down on my neck. That way everything looks the same. Okay, then I'm going to go in with my foundation and just do the same thing. Bounce it all over my face and make sure to cover everything. And as you can see, the foundation has a real full coverage now that I've mixed it with that Velvetizer. And the only problem that I personally have with the Velvetizer is that sometimes I put way more foundation on my little palette than I actually need. And so then I have to apply more foundation than I might wish to, just to make sure that I don't waste any product. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is go in with Jeffree Star's C1 concealer, and that's because it's a lighter shade than my foundation. And I'm going to apply this just under my eyes to give my eyes more of a brighter look. That way these dark circles that I have like right here don't make me look tired and down and out. And then just blend it out. And you want to make sure that you really get into all the crevices. That way it's more cohesive and you don't just have splotches of makeup sitting on your face. And then I'm going to take this Dermablend Professional Loose Setting Powder. And I'm just going to take some and apply it to this flat part of my blending brush. And then just set under my eyes. You just kind of want to let it sit on your face for a little bit to really bake in that concealer. And while we wait for that to bake, I'm just going to take this flat brush and use it to apply my eye primer. And the two eye primers that I'm going to be using is the NYX Professional Makeup in white, and then Louise base, and this one is in 0.5, but I would personally recommend using a white base rather than a nude base to get more bright colors from your makeup. And what I'm going to do is first apply the Louise base, and for this I'm going to use a straight edge so that way I can get clean lines on my makeup. And the straight edge that I use is this Liner Designer by Beauty Blender. It's not really designed for this, it's more designed to help you with your eyeliner, but I like using it for this because it's the perfect shape and it's reusable, so you're not like using business cards or something that's more disposable, and it just reduces your waste. So when I do my makeup, I try to line it up with my waterline, with this going like continuing out my waterline this way, and then I just take the base and apply it all the way up to my eyebrow bone, which is about right here. And I really try to make sure that I get that outer line as straight as possible, because it really helps in applying the eyeshadow later on. And then once you really get that straight line, you can kind of take it away and just freehand a little bit. And you want to make sure that you don't blend the eyeshadow base completely in. You still want it to be tacky because you want it to be able to hold on to the pigment that you're about to place on it. And this is the shape that I've gone with for my eye, but I suggest tweaking it to fit your face shape. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye, but I'm going to do this off camera because you've already seen me do it on this side, so it's pointless to see me do it on both. Okay, so then what you're gonna do is take the same brush and go in with this white base and just go right over the top the base that you just did. And the reason is because I personally don't think that NYX's base is that great, but it does have a nice white color, and that's what we're after. And try to make sure that you don't mix the P. Louise base with your white base, because then you just ruin the color that you're going after. And again, just going ahead and doing it on the right eye as well. You want to make sure while you're doing this that you don't completely destroy the shape that you've created. Okay, now that we've done that, I'm just going to take my beauty blender and just kind of brush away that excess powder that was underneath my eyes. So now we are going to move on to our next step, which would be eyeshadow. So the first thing that I do is take Star Power from Jeffree Star's Beauty Killer palette, which is this nice bright pink color. And I just really pack it on to the brush because it's a nice bright pink and we really want to get a good base down when we put it on. So after I really get it on the brush the way that I want it, I'm going to take my straight edge and line it back up with where it was. And then I'm going to take the shadow and then just blend it into my crease and this top part of my eye. And you want to make sure that you leave a little bit of white at the top, because that's going to give it a nice airbrush look when we blend in some white later on. So this is what it looks like so far. And you really just kind of want to blend it up, but not so much that all of the white primer is covered, but just enough to where you'll be able to blend white into it later on. I'm just going to add some more pigment and just do the same thing that I was just doing. Just blending it on. And if you get it on the lid, it's not really the end of the world. And to be honest, it probably will help with your blending later on. Because we're just going to go ahead and blend in some red with that pink to give it a nice transition. Okay, now that we're satisfied with that pink, I'm going to go ahead and get this brush. It's a packing brush. And we're just going to take Jeffree Star's Jawbreaker and open it up, and we're going to take his, his Licorice right here, and we're just going to pop that on the lid. Now while you're doing this, you want to try to make sure to leave the corner of your eye untouched, because we're just going to pop in some white at the end just to give it a bright effect. And you want to make sure that you get enough pigment on your eye to where you can blend it out. Alright, we're just going to go back to this brush, and then we're just going to blend that red into the crease. And then we're going to take this brush and then just dip it into Licorice. And just keep blending it into the crease. Until you're satisfied with how it's blended out. Now we're just going to take the packing brush again and just add a little bit more of that color into the crease. And then we're even going to add in some of the Cherry Wet from this palette, just to give it a little bit more depth. Now the Cherry Wet only goes in the crease. And then we're just going to take that same blending brush and blend it out. And what's important about using the same blending brush is it kind of mixes all the colors together on the brush, which really helps blend it out. I know that like Jeffree Star and Nikki Tutorials like to use different brushes for each color, but when you're doing blending and you're really blending two colors together, I find that it makes it a little easier. And just continue to blend it out into that pink. Good. And then we're going to take Blood Sugar, which you can use any white shadow that you want. I'm just using this one because it's on hand, and it's Glucose from Blood Sugar, which would be this white shadow up here at the top. And I'm just going to take a small blending brush and just dip into that, and then put it at the very top and blend it in. And this just helps give it that airbrush effect. We're also going to do a little bit in the corner because we're going to add some white liner. And then just kind of blend it up at the top just so it doesn't look too out of place. Now the next thing we're going to do is the under eye. And you want to put a little bit of primer under your eye, but you don't want to do it at the beginning because my eye will just crease it up and it will kind of destroy the effect of it. And so I just dragged the Licorice from Jawbreaker under my eye, and in order to do that, I just used a small blending brush like this, and I just dragged it under. And you can drag it as far as you wish. I just choose to drag it all the way down. And then you're going to take a little bit of Bubblegum from Jawbreaker and just kind of mix that in a little bit to give it a more pinky color. And then I'm even going to add some more of the pink from the Beauty Killer palette, Star Power, just to kind of build those layers a little bit. And personally, I like to keep the most pigment on the outer part of my eye to draw the attention, and then just kind of blend it out. And if you get any eyeshadow on your face where you don't want it, I just personally use my beauty blender to blend in my foundation more so it goes away. Okay, now that we're done with the shadow, we're going to move on to the glitter portion. And for the glitter, you need to have a glitter base, and the glitter base that I have is, let's see, the NYX Glitter Primer. And I just put a little bit on my mixing tablet and just let that sit for a moment. And then we're going to take Ambient from Syn Cosmetics, and we're just going to apply that right up where the white is on our eyelid. And it's just like this nice white glitter with these purple flecks in it. You can't really see it on camera, not even if you were up close. And just take a very little bit and just apply it to the top area. And you want to kind of apply it sparingly, because you're more looking for a highlighter effect rather than glitter, if that makes any sense. Okay, then after you've applied Ambient, you're just going to go into the glitter primer and make sure that your glitter has its lid on so you don't spill it everywhere. You're just going to go in with the glitter primer and you're just going to put it in the middle of your lid, the very middle, and you're going to try not to get it anywhere else. But if you get it a little bit in the crease, it's really not the end of the world. You'll just have a little bit more glitter. And when you do this, it's going to mix with the red on your lid, and that's perfectly fine. That's to be expected. So what I'm going to do now is take Maze from Syn Cosmetics, which is this nice pretty red with, it looks like green and kind of pinky flakes in it and gold. And then I'm just going to take that and put it right where I just put the primer. And I recommend using a brush for this just because you want to try to make it look cleaner. Just kind of shake off the excess. And then just take it and just apply it directly to where you put that primer. And you want to make sure that primer is wet when you put it on. You don't want to wait too long. And this just creates a little bit of a spotlight effect in the middle of your eye. I just want to kind of move the glitter around a little bit. It kind of got placed a little bit weird, but this is what it looks like so far. I don't know if you can tell. The light's kind of shining directly in my face. Alright, and then you want to go back ahead and make sure that you put the lid on your glitter so that way you don't get it everywhere. And the next thing that you're going to do is go ahead and do your eyeliner. So what I'm going to do is do white liner on my bottom lash line using Jeffree Star Cosmetics Drug Lord. And I'm also going to use this small eyeliner brush. And then for the top, I'm going to use Kat Von D's Ultra Ink Liner, or I may switch to her top. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put that on. You're just going to take a little bit on the brush, the white, just a little bit, not much. And you're just going to go ahead and do your best to place it on the bottom lash line, but try not to get it in your eye because it will sting. And while you're doing this, you want to try to make it as opaque as possible, but a little bit of a streak isn't that big of a deal. And this just kind of brightens up the bottom portion of your eye. Rather than using black liner, which will kind of darken and close up your eye, this will open. Okay, now that that's in place, we're going to go ahead and move on to our black liner. And I'm not that great at eyeliner, so I always use a straight edge to kind of get me going. And I want to place it kind of out because I want kind of a more dull look with my eyeliner. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a straight line right where that straight edge is. And you can make your wing as dramatic as you like. As you can see, mine's a bit dramatic so right now, but it won't look so bad once I go and fill it in. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and do the top lash line. I find it's easier to do that and then connect it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and connect it. And when you do this, there's probably going to be some fallout from the glitter. So just take a fluffy brush and kind of just brush it away. And really, you can do your liner however you see fit. I'm just personally liking this style lately. And if you mess up a little, just take a Q-tip and wet it and fix it. And where this will mess up your eyeshadow at the edge, you can always just take that blending brush and just blend it back out, and it'll be like it never happened. And I will say that I do not recommend using the Ultra Ink Liner for this, because so far it has messed me up twice. The brush just has no control, and the ink is coming out kind of sporadic. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the other liner that I have of Kat Von D's, because I like the brush better. I feel like that it works. And so since we messed up the outer edge of our eyeshadow, we're just going to take this blending brush and just blend it out right underneath. And then it's like it never happened. as you can see, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my eyeliner. And I think that's because I used that other liner first, and it's kind of giving me a bad slate to work on, and I'm having to go back and fix and refix. There we go. So now I'm gonna have to go back in with this brush and just kind of buff it out a little bit, and then sharpen it up with my beauty blender. I also like to take my eyeliner and do just a little wing in the corner of my eye. Just to kind of give me that cat eye effect. Finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some mascara on the top and bottom lashes, because you have all kinds of guck in your lashes and you want to make them match your falsies. And then once I do that, I'm going to put on my false lashes. And you want to be very careful with your mascara, because if you blink or it hits the top of your eyelid, it will ruin your eyeshadow. And you can fix it, but it's just frustrating. Okay, not that difficult. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do on my eyes is apply falsies. Oh, the mascara I just used was Benefit's Roller Lash. My grandma gave it to me, and I really like it. Okay, so then you're just going to take some lash glue and apply it to your lash. And you want to make sure your lash sits for a minute after you do this. Well, not an actual minute, but just sits for a moment after you've applied it and gets tacky, so then you can apply it. I always blow on mine a little bit, but it's not necessary. You can just wave it or just wait. And then you're going to take the lash once it's tacky. I use tweezers just because it's easier to secure it once you've got it on the lid. So you're going to take it, put the tweezers in the middle, and apply the lash from the middle out. This gives you better control of the lash, and it secures it so that way it's not just flopping all over the place while you're trying to put it on. You really want to make sure you secure it on the edges. I don't know about you, but my eyes water. And if you don't secure it, the lash will come off fairly easy once your eyes begin to water. Because there's not really a tight bond between your lash line and the lash strip. And there you go. That is the eye look. And I'm just going to go ahead and do everything else that I did, including the rhinestones and the blush. And after I've done all of that, I'm going to do the other eye off camera. So the first thing that we're going to do is apply blush and highlighter, because I have a stamp that I'm going to place over that, plus the gems, and it just makes it a little easier. So I'm going to take this Tarte blush called Captivating. It's this nice like peachy orange color. And I'm just going to put it on my finger and just rub it around real good. And then I'm going to put this blush all the way around here, up on my nose, and all the way out here to give you kind of that e-girl look. And it's going to look scary at first, but you just want to pack that pigment on at first, and then you can go back in and blend it out. And it's not really going to look as bold as it does right now once you've blended it out. And just take the beauty blender and just blend it out. And when you blend out your nose, you kind of want to rub up and down a little bit just to kind of get that more blended out blush effect. And really make sure you blend it in. Then I'm going to take Cover FX's Halo Liquid Highlighter and just put it right on my cheekbone, right over that highlight. And then I'm just going to take my beauty blender and just blend that out. And as you can see, it has a really nice glow. And you want to make sure to be careful to not put on too much, because it can look weird because it's liquid. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my NYX Cosmetics makeup tattoo stamp in the heart, and I'm just going to put it right here under my eye. I'm just going to go over it with some eyeliner just to kind of make sure that the shape is completely filled in, because I didn't want to touch it too hard. As when you touch it too hard onto your skin, it kind of leaves a ring where the stamp is, and that's not the look we're going for. Okay, and next we're going to prime our lips before we do our eyebrows. That way the Vaseline lip chapstick can set in. And this is just Jeffree Star's lip scrub in blue raspberry. Just want to get it all over our lips and really exfoliate. And then you just can take, you know, your shirt, you can lick it off. I prefer to use something abrasive to really get it off my face and exfoliate all that dead skin off. Okay, and then you're going to take Vaseline's Lip Therapy. That's just personally what I use. and just apply it all over your lips and let it set. Okay, next we're going to move on to our eyebrows. And me, I have really good eyebrows, so I don't really have any special tips or tricks on how to get your eyebrows to look good. But I'm just going to take an angled brush and trace my eyebrow in the 24-hour Super Grow Long Wear Pomade from Kat Von D. And this is a lemony green. And I'm just going to take it and do a straight line under my eyebrow and then fill it in from there. And you want to be a little light-handed because you want to build, and if you put too much on, it just becomes cakey. And I always use the angled brush to kind of make a square by just kind of dragging it across. And then you just want to take, and you can't really tell because the light is shining directly on it, but it definitely is green. And then you're just going to take this side of the angle brush and just feather it out. And by the way, all the pink brushes that I'm using throughout this video are Jeffree Stars. And then the black ones are Morphe, and the silver ones are BH Cosmetics. And then I'm going to move on to the rhinestones. So for the rhinestones, I just got these off Amazon and Wish. I have these black ones. These are like nail art ones. These multicolored ones. And then I have these teardrop shaped ones, which these are translucent and I'm not really a fan of them, but I try to use them so they don't go to waste. And I just like to use lash glue and apply it directly to the gems. And then just do the same thing that I did the lashes and let it dry a little bit so it's tacky. And for this white teardrop, I'm just gonna put it right over my little freckle here and try to make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to take the second biggest size of these black ones and just apply it right above. Which these smaller gems can be fairly frustrating because they are so small. And then I'm just going to take a pink gem from these multicolored ones and apply it to the outer edge of my eye. And you want to make sure not to spill the gems. I've done that and it's a mess. I still have gems all over my floor because I did not pick them all up. And for this, you want to make sure that you place it under your eye, or right in the corner area. And then you can place more rhinestones if you wish. This is just what I did for this look. And then now that I'm basically done with my face, I'm going to take my wash rag and wipe off the Vaseline so I can apply my lipstick and lip gloss. And then I'm just going to take Unicorn Blood from Jeffree Star and apply it to my lips. I always do like a cross motion on the top cupid's bow of my lip and then just try to fill it in from there. I do not overdraw my lips though. And for everybody who always asks me, how do you put lipstick on when you have snake bites? You just flip the rings down. It's really not that hard. And that's Unicorn Blood. And then over the top of it, I'm just going to do my lip injection from Too Faced, just to kind of give it a glossy look. And this is a lip gloss that's going to irritate your lips and make them look bigger. I'm actually getting some of Jeffree Star's clear gloss, so I can do this with that instead of having to use the lip injection. I'm just going to put this directly over the top. I'm going to do a thin layer so I don't get too much of the effect. Okay, and then I'm going to do the rest of my face off camera. Okay, so this is the finished look. As you can see, I only put the heart on one side. My lips are very glossy and a little bit bigger than they were before. And the next thing I'm going to do, the final thing that I'm going to do, is just take some of this Mario facial spray that I used earlier and just spray that on my face and then use my setting spray. And you want to make sure you don't use too much of that facial spray because you don't want it to melt your makeup off. And the setting spray that I use is Urban Decay's All Nighter. Alright, well, there you go, guys. This is the look that I did for Valentine's Day. I hope you liked this video. And please give me some constructive criticism if you feel necessary. I will say that this primer that I used today is working for me. My face does look pretty nice. I think everything went fairly well. Let me guys know what you think.